Okay, hello. In this tutorial, I'm going to talk of access forms. I'm going to create an access form, and it's going to be a complete form. Now, you could use a form when dealing with databases, and this is an example of an access form. I'm going to use a database that is already created. It is called CAN. Okay, so this is the database I'm going to use. This database has some objects like a table. It's having 4 queries and 1 table. This is maybe the age query. This is a parameter query, and it really works when I put an example of a residence. This is NSSF query. This is something like play. Anyway, so I'm here to create a form. So whenever you're creating a form, you're going to go under create, then you go to form design. Now in form design, it's where you're going to do all what is required of your form. Number one, if you're creating a form, you should know the type of form you're creating. I'm creating a normal form from form design. So a normal form from form design is going to be from your table, from your access table. For now, I'm having one access table, and it's called database. So I want to create my form from this table by, of course, I said you click at create, then form design. Okay, then I can click at add existing fields, then I click at show all tables. I click at the table 2 times, it opens the fields, and I'm going to click at each field 2 times. Now those are the fields that my table is having. Actually, most of us stop here when creating forms. Now this is not right, because first of all, your form is going to be hard for you to navigate. The form is not having a heading, etc. It's not having a footer, header. So I'm going to do all that. After putting all these fields here, I'm going to look for buttons. There are buttons here. I'm going to create my very first button. I'm going to draw something like a rectangle. So some computers are going to load a button wizard there and then, but some computers may fail to load a button wizard. Well, if your machine is failing to load a button wizard, when you draw this button, simply you simply click at this drop down, this one, and then you click at use control wizards. It will definitely work. So mine is already working, that's why I'm not clicking at the other option I've showed previously. So I'm going to go to first record, next, text, next, finish. Okay, I can go to the second button. I want at least 3 of them. The second is the other one was first. This one is next, next, text, next, finish. Okay, and the last button is right here, the third one. Last, next, text, finish. Okay, so these are the buttons, and we shall see the use of the buttons. Now that's another part of the form. It's called buttons. A form can have a header and a footer. It is so important. So if I want to put a header and a footer in my form, I'm going to right click in the interface of the form. I go to form header or footer. I click at form header or footer, and I'm going to have the header section and the footer section. So I can reduce or increase by using this symbol here. I want to increase, okay, so that my footer can really fit in that space. So I'm going to write something in the footer of the form. This time around, I'm going to use a label. Let me click at a label, then I draw something like a label. Okay, now it depends on where you want to put your header. I want to put mine maybe at the top left corner. That's why I draw the label at the top left corner. If you want to put it in the center, draw it in the center. If you want the other side of right, put it at the right. For example, that is maybe my form header, and it's my name, maybe. Same applies to the footer. You can get this increasing element here, then you increase. Actually, it is the opposite. Sorry for that. Click at label, and then you draw something like a label as a footer. It could be a personal number, 001, as an example. Okay, that is a footer and a header. So I can have also a heading in my form. Forms should have an appropriate heading. I could shift maybe this down. I can highlight all of this. I'm just dragging from this corner here, and I can shift them downwards so that I can have my heading. I can draw a label once again, and then I type my heading there. For example, this is a heading, a form that feeds data into the into the database table. So my table name here is database. So my form, it's having a heading, the form that feeds data into the database table. I can highlight this, then I give it a color from home. You see my colors are not active, but I can first click anywhere, then I highlight again. I see whether the colors are active. Oh yes, they are now active. I can choose any color I want, maybe red, and I can give it any size I want. Bigger size, maybe 16. Okay, you see that those are all various parts of a form, and they're really important when you're designing your form. Next up, I can give my form an appropriate color. I can give a header section a color and a footer section a color. I can right click at the header section, then I go to something like color, fill back color. You give it a color that's not that dark, that's going to support the printing. Maybe even in the form footer, you can right click there, choose a color, you put a color that supports the printing. Even here in the major part of the form, right click, choose an appropriate color that is so dark. I can choose something like that. Now this is a color, and that's how we put colors into our forms. Next up, now forms also support calculations, but I may not do a calculation now, maybe for the case of time or for the purpose of the video, but I can create something here to enable my calculation. Maybe I want to calculate someone's NSSF using a form. I'm going to push these buttons down. I can push all the buttons down at once by highlighting them. Then there is the arrow key that points down. It's going to push your buttons down. And then you can draw something from the design tab, and it's called a text box. A text box is going to support some other field in your form. For example, for my case, it is NSSF. I can increase this to give it a better shape, and then I can type NSF. Now, depending on your creativity, you can change NSSF to any color, to any size, etc., depending on what you're doing. And that's how we can put NSSF as a new field in my form. Forms have a lot. They have dates, they have icons, etc. So I'm going to put a date in my form. I simply look for the dates. They are under, actually I'm looking for dates, the dates, they're under, I'm looking for dates. Let me click at my form. I can even right click. I navigate for the dates. It is right here. It is under the design tab. I can click at date, stroke time. Depends on the date I want. I can go with this normal date. I can go with this one, anything. Yes, today is Friday, 15th March 2024, and it's 5:14 p.m. Ugandan time. Click OK, and then the date is going to be allocated in the form header. So even forms are going to be holding an image or logo. There is a logo here. Under design, there is logo. I can click at logo. Then I load any image I can get from my PC. Let me see whether I'm having some images here. Looking for some images to place as a logo, a desktop. For maybe the support folders, I can pick an image. If you have your image on your computer, it's okay. I could pick an image from this. Yes. Okay, I could pick this image of the secretary, a cartoon image, a very common image. It could be your passport photo, it could be any other image. If you're able to select it from the logo and it is on your desktop, you can do it. Click OK, and then your image is going to be loaded in your form. Now the image, you're seeing that the image is now occupying the side of the header in the form. You can deal with that by just increasing on your form header, then you can click at the image and push it down. Let me push this down instead. Okay. Anyway, I can shift this, right click, I can copy this to this. Anyway, let me go with this. So that's an example of a logo in my form, and you see that now it is a complete form. A form should have almost everything I've been displaying here in this video, and maybe you could want to look at your form. You could want to look at your form while running it. So if I save my form as form tutorial and then I go to OK, it's going to appear somewhere here. I could open it and then I see how my form is going to look like. Wow, that is a good form, and has been created by Access, and at least it's making a lot of parts of a form. You see, these buttons are important by navigating. They're just navigating through the table. That's how they are important. Okay, so maybe if I could go back to the design view of the form, and I could put something like a function into the NSSF text box. I could right click here, then I go to properties, right here, then I try to build under data. There is this, the three dots, and I build. Maybe NSSF is 10%. I put equals 10 out of 100. Some computers may not capture the percentage symbol, may not capture that character, and you could type 10 out of 100. Maybe NSSF is 10% of salary. Times, I look for the salary field from the database. This is important when calculating in forms. I look for the salary field from my database. My database was called CAN. Some computers are going to display a database. They're going to display the table there and then, but mine is displaying a database first. So I open the table, it's right here, and I click at salary 2 times. It falls into my expression builder. I remove the space, then I remove the table name. The forms, whenever you're calculating in forms, remove the table name and start with equal signs. Unlike queries where you use the full colons, and maybe here the difference is use equals and remove the table name. I'm going to remove the table name, and I only remove with salary, that is, I remain with salary, that is the field, and then I click OK. You see, if I open this form, NSSF is really working, and if I click next, another person's NSSF has been captured, etc, etc. You see that now this form is almost a complete form in Access that could earn you anything you want with Access. If I go back to the design view of the form, you see that you could shift these, you could shift a little bit these headers and the footer, so that you can have a better form. You can even shift this and shift this. Okay, maybe it ends somewhere here. Yes, that is a complete form, and it is a form I wanted to share with you in this tutorial. You can pause the videos, you can rewind, so that you cope up with maybe the speed I could be using a nice evening.